Global to Local is a Swedish organisation based in Stockholm with partner organisations in Armenia, Ukraine and Georgia. Our goal is to share Swedish experience in bullying prevention with post-Soviet countries and help create safe and secure school environments. In 2021, Global to Local started a large-scale bullying prevention project that included training of trainers, interactive theatre performances for schools, filming educational materials for classroom discussions, as well as preparing a drama performance to be staged soon at Yerevan Drama Theatre. Training of trainers was based on a well-known Oveos bullying prevention methods. It was conducted in cooperation with the Ministry of Education of Armenia. Interactive theatre performances were staged in collaboration with Theatre for Changes, an Armenian NGO, at the same schools where we conducted training of teachers. In addition, we filmed educational films as part of our project. Those films will be used in connection with discussions on bullying circle and classroom rules. Drama performances is still in its preparation stage, but all the actors have participated in a seminar on school bullying. Currently, Global to Local, together with its Armenian office, is writing policy recommendations that will be presented to the Armenian government next year. Being and feeling safe at schools is a fundamental human right of every child. Global to Local.
Så, nu ska jag försöka att och sen ja, tack. Så det är bara vi. So my name is Irina Alewert, and I'm the founder of Global to Local. And before I talk about our projects, I would like to start with a little bit history. The initial idea behind Global to Local was not bullying prevention. It was the idea was to share Swedish experience on democracy, human rights issues with the countries of Eastern Partnership, starting with Armenia and Ukraine. But it was too broad, and we had to focus on something specific. And we realized that we have to start from the very beginning. It is education and children. A couple of days ago, the Swedish Minister of Education mentioned that a classroom mirrors our society, and I would say vice versa. Our societies are the results of the educational systems we have. And if we have these societies today, it's because we didn't teach our children compassion. We didn't teach them respect for others, respect for differences, or social skills. So in that regard, bullying prevention seemed to be the right field to start with. And another thing played a very important role in this decision. I was a member of Educational Committee in one of Stockholm's municipalities, where I learned a lot about this amazing program, namely Ulveus program, and where I met this amazing person, Marie Lindström, who was an expert Ulveus instructor, and she helped me with our projects in Armenia. So we started actually in Ukraine 2017. And this was a very light pilot project then. It was again based on Ulveus principles. We used also interactive theater, and I should say that our organization works on a synergy of education, culture, and media. So in Armenia, we started with training of trainers, as it was mentioned in the film, in cooperation with the Ministry of Education. We prepared 12 trainers for 5 schools. It's approximately 1,500 children, and it's a pilot project for 1 year. in general, we started our training with a short survey, and although I don't think you can see that, but it's a little bit gives a little bit broader picture how teachers think, because it's a completely new subject for many of them, and many of them didn't even know the word bullying. So many teachers think that bullying is a conflict between two sides only, and children should solve their own problems. And they even think that bullying can get worse if adults try to help. So it shows that we have a lot to do there. It's not only training, but it's also change of mentality that we have to work with. During our work, we faced many challenges, and I would like to summarize them. Important points when you start a cooperation in a new country where bullying is a completely new thing. Reach agreement with the governments. It's very important when you have the support of the government, because otherwise it will just be a pilot that doesn't affect the whole society. So we are lucky enough to have the support of the Armenian government today, and we hope that at some point it will become a national program for every school. Infrastructure, and I would say structural differences as well, because you have to take into account different things. That's, for example, many schools don't have schoolyards, or they don't have long breaks. So especially after COVID, kids are not allowed to be in corridors, and we know that bullying cases mainly occur, 75-80% occur during those breaks, right? And in Armenia, we have only 5 minutes for children to run from one classroom to another. So there is no time for interactions. Another thing that we had to take into account is meetings with parents. They are held on according to this old Soviet principle, when every parent is present and teacher is discussing every single case, naming the children. So we proposed a new form that is used in Sweden as well. It's individual meetings with parents and children. And again, we're lucky enough to be able to implement this new approach in the schools in Armenia. Cultural differences are very important to think about. Sometimes even when you say word gender, it might it might stop any discussion, because it is accepted by some people as a threat from Western culture. Even such simple things you have to take into account. And level of democracy reforms, of course, because these countries, post-Soviet countries, are based on individuals mainly, not on systems, not on structures, which means that if we get a new Minister of Education tomorrow, then it's possible that the new minister will come with his or her new ideas, putting aside everything that has been done before. So unfortunately, it is based on individuals, and we have to take that into account when we work in new countries. So as I said, our organization works on the synergy of culture, education, and media. So we use interactive theater as a very important part of Ulve's program. And interactive theater has a great power of changing minds, letting children express their ideas, their fears, something that they wouldn't dare to do otherwise. So it was really very powerful tool that we used in 4 regions of Armenia, nearly for 400 children, and this is going on. So we continue to work like this in other regions. And of course, films. I think it's very important to think also about public awareness. Currently, we're working on social ads on bullying to present, not only to present our programs, but also to raise the importance of discussions on bullying in Armenia. So as Professor Benveniste mentioned yesterday, school can create its own environment, and even children can affect their parents. It is especially important for the countries that are in conflict zones, because they also can spread this attitude, this new knowledge of compassion, of respect, of conflict resolution in a peaceful way to others, to their parents, to the society. And honestly, when I started this project in April, I was not sure that I could get attention for this program because it was just several months after the war. So Armenia was in war before that. But I was so surprised and impressed by the engagement of all my colleagues in our projects. And that gives me hope. That gives me hope that there is a future for countries like Armenia if during the most difficult part they still think about children and their rights. So it means we have future. Because these children are going to be our decision makers in some 10 or 20 years ago. And it will be up to them to solve those problems, not only short-term bullying prevention in the schools, but also long-term conflicts within a society or outside of the country. So in order to start that long-term impact, we have to work now. That is all about global to local projects. Thank you. I was going to show the film, but you know the film, so I would probably start here. If you have questions, I would love to answer your questions. Tack. And now I would like to present one of our educational films that is actually based on Ulvaeus' program. We are going to use this material for this classroom discussions. So the children, children, when they watch this film, they go back to the classroom and start discussing the bullying circle and all the roles that we have in a bullying situation.
Մենակ չասես, որ ուզում ես ստեղ նստես։
Ուրիշ ազատ տեղ չկա, մենակ ստեղ ազատ։
Այս տեղը իմ ընտրյալների համար է։
Վայ, քեզ հարմար տեղ ազատվեց։ Իսկական քո տեղը այդտեղ է։
Դու գիտես ինչ պիտի անես։
Երեխեք, իսկ կարողա պետք չի։